you ready?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Were you going to move away from this metric issue?
Yes, Chair, but there was just one reference we're going to make before, which related to the question that you asked,
Okay,
whether
let's do
metric was a
that.
requirement. Yes, thank
Let's
you.
do that because I may have 2 or 3 questions to round
that.
off that.
Yes, thank you,
Yeah.
Chair. Mr. Motsoeneng, could you please turn to page 214 of where your statement is, Exhibit 30, CC 30.
On the bundle that has got his statement.
Thank you, Chair.
What is the page number?
Page 214,
Okay.
and that's CC 30, 30.
The
Thank you.
bundle that has got your statement.
Your statement. Thank you. Page 214.
214.
Yes. It will be under divider number 11.
Yes, I'm there.
Yes, thank you. This is an email dated, it's from Ms. Mofokeng, sent on the 31st of October 2014 to Ms. Mosweu, or Mr. Mosweu, I beg your pardon. And this is what she says: Dear Mr. Mosweu, requested clarification letter by Ms. H.M. Mofokeng dated 12 October 1999. Mr. Motsoeneng was appointed as a trainee journalist with a condition that he will complete his metric certificate as agreed, having written the outstanding course in October 1996. He should have been in possession of the certificate during 1997. It is procedural that HR from time to time audit the personnel files to ensure that all required documents are correctly filed. Hence my follow-up on Mr. Tati's letter to Mr. Motsoeneng. The expectation by the employer was that Mr. Motsoeneng would have written the outstanding subjects as per his discussion with Mr. Tati and should have handed in the certificate, which was a requirement for the job. What is your comment to that? She says that that was a requirement for the job and you were expected to complete your metric.
It was not a requirement.
Yes.
But I think when you read Mr. Tati's letter, for me, to be honest, I think it was good to encourage someone to go and acquire a certificate, but it was not requirements.
Yeah. And then just on that score.
I'm sorry, where is the part on the letter that says metric was a requirement?
Which was a requirement for the job. That's the last 2 sentences, Chair, just before regards. The expectation starts with the expectation by employer.
I'm sorry, is that 208? No,
214. 214, Chair.
Okay,
I beg
I'm
your
sorry,
pardon.
I'm looking at it wrong.
Yeah, 214, okay.
Two, 1, 4. Yeah, it says which was a requirement for the job.
Yes.
But the paragraph before that makes it clear that when he was appointed, that is Mr. Motsoeneng,
Yes.
as a trainee journalist, he was appointed, as it says, with a condition that he will complete his metric certificate as agreed. Now, to say he would complete his metric certificate is, of course, not accurate language.
Yes.
It must mean that he would complete his metric.
That's correct, yes.
So, which means, if one looks at this letter,
Yes.
this email, it must mean that the author is acknowledging that when he was appointed, that is Mr. Motsoeneng,
Yes.
there was
didn't have
an acceptance that he was yet to complete his metric.
Yes.
That's what. So, although he says, or is it a she, later on in the email,
Yes.
this was a requirement for the job, it may mean that it was a requirement for the job, but it had been decided for whatever reasons that should not be enforced immediately.
Yes.
But he was encouraged to
Complete his matric.
complete his matric.
Yes, Chair.
They may or may not have discussed within what time,
Yes.
within what time frame, and what would happen if he failed to.
He failed to fulfill that
Yes,
condition.
yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
Chair.
yeah.
Yes, thank you. And then maybe lastly.
And you'd go along with that interpretation.
Yes, Chair. And I can also allude to the issue that all these people who are writing these letters, they were not there when I was employed.
Yes, yes.
So at that time, the conditions of employment, no matric, as the letter alluded to the issue.
Yes.
Yes, Chair.
Yes.
But did you ever see the documents that would have specified what the requirements for that position were? Or are you simply saying possession of matric was not a requirement simply because nobody said to you, this is a requirement, and the way they handled the situation suggested to you that matric was not a requirement?
Chair, I think the matric issue, the way I see it, in my view, is because I have already told them that I don't have matric. So maybe
Yes.
that letter, that is the reason why they didn't look for matric. But in the history that in my history at the SABC, even Alvain Kloppers, during my disciplinary hearing, he alluded to the issue that he was not even sure whether matric was a criteria to employ at the SABC.
Yes, no, but what I want to establish is whether, when you say matric was not a requirement for that position, you say so because you did have a look at the requirements, at the documents of SABC where the requirements for the position were laid down, and you know that they did not include matric, or whether you are simply saying it was not a requirement because, one, they employed you knowing you did not have matric, to that letter that we talked about earlier on.
Chair, I can only deal with my issue.
Yes.
Because they employ me knowing that I don't have
Yes.
matric.
Yes.
On other matters, really,
Yes.
I can't go far.
Okay, so in that event, I think the correct answer, therefore, is that you are not sure whether possession of matric was a requirement for the position at the time, but what you do know is that you disclosed to them that you did not have matric, and nevertheless, that did not present an obstacle to them appointing you. That's all you can say.
Yes, Chair.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Chair. And in his opening address, Mr. Motsoeneng had mentioned the fact of his probation having been confirmed.
Yes.
Chair would recall that. May I
Yes.
just refer, Chair, to page 212?
Okay.
Thank you. 212 of the same bundle. Yes.
212.
Yes.
I have lost the page.
Yes, you mentioned.
Have you got it, Mr. Motsoeneng?
Chair?
Have you got the
Yes.
page?
Not yet, but I know very well about the letter, Chair.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
comfortable, yes, Chair.
Okay.
Yes, it says, written on the 25th of October 1995, addressed to you, Mr. Motsoeneng, says, Dear Mr. Motsoeneng, as you have successfully completed your probationary period, I have pleasure in confirming your appointment to the permanent staff. We wish you every success for the future. Is this the confirmation that you were referring to?
Yes, Chair.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Motsoeneng, just to close this issue, would you agree with me that were it not for the form itself that had the symbols and that indicated that you had passed standard 10, no one would say there was any misrepresentation, because according to the letters that we've addressed, Mr. Tati and everybody else appreciated that you had to complete a certain, or one of the subjects at least. So were it not for the form and the way it was completed that we find at page 408 of Exhibit CC 32, no one would be raising the issue of misrepresentation.
Yes, I think as the chair did allude at earlier,
Yes.
When you check the background of my employment,
Yes.
but if someone just check and have his own and interpret it differently.
Yes. Yes. And in fairness to the public protector, you might find that that was her focus as well. That form was her focus.
I explained several times. To be honest, Chair, I don't know why the public protector came to such conclusion. Remember also, she ignored the main employer, the affidavit of Alvin Kloppers, the affidavit of Pula Pula Mutibi. She ignored everything. So for me, if the issue was really getting the truth, she was supposed to even call them, Chair, to say, can you come and clarify these issues? Because I'm confused here. So for me, I don't know what informed the public protector, but I can say here, Chair, I have never agreed with the public protector that I lied on my matric issue.
Thank you, Chair.
You are
Yes,
done.
yes, Chair. Yes.
Yes. Let's go to would you please just repeat the conversation that transpired between you and Ms. Swanepoel as best as you can in terms of your recollection on the occasion when you were completing this employment form, which is at page 408 in the bundle that has got your statement. Just tell me how the conversation happened. Is she the one that gave you the form?
Yes, Chair.
She's the one who gave you the form?
Yes.
Yes. Are you there already, or the form, or you are able to, you don't need to see it, you can answer questions?
Chairman, I'm very good there.
Yes, okay.
Yes, I know the story there.
So she gave you the form, and then did you complete it in front of her, or did you go away to complete it and brought it back?
She gave me the form, Chair. We discussed the issue of writing standard 10 in that form between me and her.
Yes, how did that come about? I just want, if you are able to, I know that it's a long time ago, if you are able to remember, say, after she had given me the form, I realized that I was supposed to write this, and this is what I said, and this is what she said. I just want to understand that conversation.
Chair, she was told that I don't have matric.
That is now before she gave you the form, she knew that?
Yes.
Okay.
She knew that because when the late Olivier went to Kwakwa to engage me on the matter, Alvin has already told Olivier told other members of the SABC. So when I went there, she knew already that I don't have the matric certificate. And in any case, Chair, she was just a clerk.
Yes, but your knowledge that she knew that you did not have matric, is that based on the fact that that's what she told you in the conversation? Is that based on the fact that you knew that she was present when somebody told staff or told a certain group of people that you didn't have matric? How do you know that?
No, Chair, I know that because she's the one who called me to say, come and fill these forms. I was told that you were appointed and you don't have a matric. That's why, Chairman, in that process.
Yes, that's what she said.
Yes, we discussed the issue of matric, and then I said to her, no, someone just told me that. Why can't you go to Pretoria to check if you combine your symbols, you can't get a pass? Those were discussion between me and her. She said, no, Hlaudi, if that is the case, it's fine. You can write what you remember. And then maybe when you come back, you will come and tell us what. And then I went to Chairperson with an employee of the SABC to Pretoria to check. When I arrived there, they told us, no, even if we combined these symbols, you're not getting a pass. So I went back, I said, no, I didn't get a pass. That's why she wrote outstanding matric, because I came back and report back. Yes, Chairman.
Now, so did you specifically discuss with her, or did the two of you specifically discuss what you should write on the block where it says highest standard passed?
She advised me, Chairperson.
And what was the advice?
The advice was, fill this form.
Yeah.
When you come back, we will deal with the form.
Yes.
Which I came back.
Yes.
When I came back, that's why she wrote that outstanding, Chairperson.
Yes. But so when you went to Pretoria, you had already filled the form and completed that part.
Yes, Chairperson.
Yes. Now, you have just said, she said, fill this form. Did she say, put 10 where it says higher standard passed? Did she say that?
Yes, Chair.
Yes. And what did you say in response?
In my response, Chair, I said, no, but I didn't pass standard 10. And then she said, but you are going to Pretoria. We will sort out the form when you come back. So even when I came back, I explained to her to say, you see, I didn't do well. So she said, no, it's fine. That outstanding, Chair, that she wrote confirms what I'm saying. Yes, Chair.
Now, did I understand correctly that at the time you may have been 23 years old?
Yes.
But if you don't want to disclose your age...
No, it's not a problem, Chairman. Chair.
Yes.
It's true, Chair, I was 23.
You were about 23.
Yes, Chair.
Now, of course, when you are 23, you are young, but you are not 10 years old, you are not 15 years old, okay? Now, why did you not say to her, but I'm not prepared to write something that is false here. I haven't passed standard 10. It would be wrong.
Chairperson, the issue is why I didn't say that is because we agree. Her letter said combine the symbols. So, which means when I come back, report to her to say, I don't have that matric certificate. She wrote outstanding. In my personal view, outstanding is I don't have matric. I didn't make an issue, Chair, to be honest. Yes, I didn't make an issue about it.
Yes.
But
no, I think you are right in saying outstanding matric certificate, may be said to mean matric is outstanding or the certificate is not there because you haven't passed matric. That's possible. I think based on that, certainly after she had written that, there must have been certainly a common understanding between the two of you that definitely you did not have matric. I'm just concerned that before that happened, here is a clear block where the question is, write down your highest standard passed. And you know that you have not passed standard 10. And you have told her that you have not passed standard 10. One, on what you have told me, she says, write that you have right standard 10. And yet she knows that that would not be true. You understand what I'm looking at?
Chairperson, I understand you clearly so.
Yes, yes.
And that issue, Chairperson, as I said, even during the public protection, I was not supposed to take that advice.
Yeah, it was a wrong advice.
Yes, it was a wrong advice, Chairperson. That one I have admitted. What I said I don't admit is I lied for me to be employed by the SABC.
Yes. Because all those who made decisions about your appointment knew that you did not have matric. You had disclosed. That part is you have indicated. So what we have on your version is simply that you wrote something false on the application for employment form, and you must just tell me if I misunderstand here. My understanding is that you knew when you wrote it that it was not true, but you were given advice, that's the point you make, by Miss Swanepoel, that write this false information effectively. She didn't put it that way, but both of you knew that you had not passed Standard 10.
Chairperson, the Standard 10, it was well known, as I have alluded in previously. Even when I went to her, it was well known. The only issue that, in my mind, after someone told me, if maybe you combined your symbol, you will get a pass.
Yes.
That is the only reason why I wrote those symbols. Even those symbols, Chair, normally you'll do 7 subjects.
Yes.
So I was not even remembering how many subjects. I just wrote those subjects. But I knew I failed history.
Yes.
That one I was sure.
Yes.
That's why I wrote that one.
Yes.
This others I was not really. If I combine, maybe I did very well. Yes, Chairman. That is the case.
At that time, was there a process where somebody who had been writing supplementary examinations, because I think you said you had been writing supplementary examinations, was there a process within the Department of Education in terms of which somebody in that position could go to the department and say to them, look at the symbols I've achieved. Have I not now passed to be eligible to be given a matric certificate? Was there a process like that you knew about? Where did this idea come from, that if you combine the symbols, you could get a certificate?
I was told by my lady principal.
Yes.
Yes, to say, no, what you need to do,
Yes.
you can come to school,
Yes.
and then we can work that process and check with the Department of Education.
Yes.
But at that time, because I was also coming to Johannesburg,
Yes.
it was easier for me.
Yes.
Coming to Johannesburg, and then I took my colleagues, and then we went and checked, and then they
Yes.
confirmed that I did not pass matric.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Is Mrs. Swanepoel still available? Is she going to be called
Chair, the
to talk about
investigators,
the advice?
the investigators are looking into that, Chair.
Yes, they must try and see if they can find her.
Yes.
So that she can testify about the advice that she may have given Mr. Motsoeneng.
Yes, but
Yes.
except that something that comes close to that is that letter that you read, where she says, I said, you just put it in.
Yes.
But the advice aspect doesn't come out clearly in the letter.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes. No, thank you very much, Mr. Motsoeneng.
Thank you.
Yes, you may continue.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chair, just for completeness sake, maybe just where the public protector deals with this issue, Chair, is in bundle CC27 at pages 295 up to 295, metric thing. I think it ends at page 298. Yes, thank you, Chair.
Okay, do you want to ask Mr. Motsoeneng
Yes,
to
Mr.
get it?
Motsoeneng, next to you on your left-hand side, have you...
Sorry,
have you-
Chairperson.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you mind if I just because I know all this.
Oh, okay.
Yes, no, if you are comfortable,
No,
that's
Chairman,
fine, yes.
Yes, I know everything.
Yes,
Yes.
no, if
Thank
you are
you.
comfortable, yeah, but if at any stage you think you want to look at a document, just say so.
Yes, Chairman.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, Chair.
But let me get to is
that.
it page 295?
296, Chair. In fact, it
Okay.
starts from 295, but the actual point that you
Yes.
were dealing with Mr.
Okay.
Motsoeneng now
No,
is at
that's
page
fine.
296.
Okay.
Thank you. Are you there, Chair? Have you found it? Oh, thank you.
I found the page, yeah.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Motsoeneng, just for us to complete this issue and understand exactly what is it that the public protector actually said, if I may read from paragraph 6.1.3.22 at page 296. In the preceding paragraph, she had listed the symbols as they are reflected at page 408. And then she says, on the application form that Mr. Motsoeneng completed, he only noted 5 subjects completed and not the usual 6. During the interview, Mr. Motsoeneng admitted falsifying his matric qualification and blamed a Mrs. Swanepoel, whom he said gave him the application form to fill in anything. In other words, to make up the symbols from the top of his head, which he did. With regard to the matric certificate, the form says outstanding, giving the impression that the certificate exists and would be submitted in due course. A copy of a transcript of the interview held with Mr. Motsoeneng on 19 July 2013 with me is annexed to the report. Below is an extract from the transcript. Advocate Madonsela, but you are saying to me, you knew then that you had failed. So because when you put these symbols, you knew that you hadn't found or never seen them anywhere. You were making them up. So I'm asking that in retrospect, do you think you should have made up these symbols now that you are older and you are not 23? Mr. Motsoeneng, from me, for now, because I do understand all the issues, I was not supposed to be honest. If I was, now I was clear in my mind, like now I know what is wrong, what is right. I was not supposed to even put it, but there they said, no, put it. But what is important for me, Public Protector, is everybody knew. And even when I put there, I said to the lady, I'm not sure about my symbols. And why I was not sure, Public Protector, is because I go a sub, I remember, okay, in English, I think it was E because it was, after it was 1995. If you check there, we were talking about 1991. Now it was 1995. And for me, I had to even go. I was supposed to go to school to check. Someone said, no. You know what you need to do? Just go to Pretoria. At that time, Public Protector taxi, go and then check, then said, no, you fail. I went, that one, and people were putting this Public Protector, and I'm going to give you, I know it is Pumelele and Charlotte, and these people, when SAPC were charging me, they were my witnesses. Mr. Madiba, I think I want to understand you correctly. You say you were asked by the SAPC to put in those forms. I mean to put in those. And Advocate Madonsela to make up the symbols. Mr. Madiba, to make up the symbols. Do you recall who said that to you? And your answer was Mari Swanepoel. And Mr. Madiba, Mari Swanepoel, and the answer is yes. So this is the portion of the evidence of the Public Protector that you say you challenge as not being correct. The finding.
Yes, Chair.
Sorry. Thank you.
Yes, you want to add something?
Yes,
Yes.
Through you, Chair. I think this goes back to what I was saying, when it comes to this issue of Public Protector. I said I didn't lie about matric. But when she was saying, looking back 23 years, because people were talking about all these issues, Chairperson, about, lie about matric and so on. I said, but looking back, checking, I was not supposed to take this advice from Maris Swanepoel, which I still believe I was not supposed to take that advice, but I was not admitting that I lied to be employed at the SABC. In any case, I'm the one who confessed to the SABC, to my employer, that I don't have a matric. Yes. And also the issue is why the Public Protector didn't go and call those people who employ me, or including Chair Mari Swanepoel. Although Mari Swanepoel was not my employer, when I went there, I was already employed by the SABC.
Yes. You see, I think because that form says application for employment, the form which we are talking about. It gives the impression that that is when you were applying for employment. But you are saying when you filled the form, you had already been appointed, as I understand. Is that correct?
Yes, Chair. I did not even apply.
Yes.
I was headhunted.
Yes, yes.
They cashed the fish that they were looking for.
Yes, yes. So this form said application for employment, and then somebody says, okay, this person applying for employment is being asked, what is your highest standard that you have passed? And this person says standard 10. But we know in this room that you have made it clear that that was not the true position.
Yes, Chair.
You see. So it seems to me that whatever point you want to make, insofar as the filling in of that form in regard to saying standard 10, it seems to me that whatever you may be wanting to say would be directed at saying that you accept that what you wrote down when you said standard 10 was false. But you are simply saying there is an explanation how and why you came to write information that was false. And the explanation is the discussion you had with Ms. Sonepul and the advice that you say she gave you. And the advice amounted to saying, even though we know that you haven't passed standard 10, write down standard 10. And there was an understanding, as I understand your evidence, that you were going to go to Pretoria and see whether, as you put it, if they combine all the symbols that you had obtained when you were writing supplementary examinations, that would not give you a pass for matric. That seems to me the upshot of what you are saying. It doesn't seem to me that you can deny that writing matric on the form was false. But what you are saying is, don't ignore the context in which that happened. Don't ignore the fact that I was given advice. And don't ignore the fact that everyone knew I didn't have matric. And don't ignore the fact that I was going to go to Pretoria to see whether when they combine all my symbols, the result would not be that I have passed. That's my understanding. Is that correct?
It is correct, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Motsoeneng. Maybe let's go back to your statement now. In fact, let's go back to, you're still dealing with your career progression. And then we decided to deal with this issue. You were at a point when you were telling the chairperson that then you were then employed as a journalist, am I correct?
Yeah.
Yes. From there, then could you then continue from where you left off?
Chairperson, I was a trainee journalist when I was employed at the SABC. And I grown within the SABC. I became a journalist. I became a producer. I became an executive producer. I became a specialist producer. I was also at certain point acting as regional editor, Free State and Northern Cape. I was appointed to be general manager in the office of the GCO. I was appointed to be group executive for stakeholder. and provinces outside now, the GCO. I also dealt with the issue of the communication of the board, and that is where I moved to become the acting COO of the SABC.
Yes.
I think that is my profile, in short.
In short, yes. And then the one bit was when then, after acting as COO, then you became the COO.
Yes,
Yes.
So sorry, Chair, I became COO.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Could you just tell the chair how was that process handled? You had been acting, Dr. Ngubane, who testified yesterday, we had taken Dr. Ngubane through a letter from the minister where you were appointed to act as a COO. You would recall that Minister Dinapule approved that acting appointment. Then from then, Dr. Ngubane testified that he then left the SABC and you were appointed after he had left the SABC. Could you just take, I know the issue of your appointment has been subjected to litigation and there are judgments that relate to that. But can you just, in your own words, briefly tell the chairperson the process that was followed before you were appointed the COO of the SABC?
Chair, I don't think I can deal with that one because it's the board issue who took that decisions. I may say that I did raise the issue about me raising acting more than 2 years.
Yes.
And
As
not me
CEO.
alone also, as the acting COO. Not me alone. I was saying, but if I'm this fish that you want, I mean, why can't you move on? I mean, I can't act for more than 2 years because I don't know whether I'm going backwards or I'm going forward. And I also wrote a letter, Chairperson, I must declare that. I wrote a letter to, I think, to the Chairperson of the board to say, here's my situation, I'm unhappy about this situation, I can't act forever.
Yes.
But the appointment and the process, I was not
Yes.
part, yes.
Yes. Of course, what you would be able to do is to answer specific questions in regard to that process where you do have knowledge of what happened. But you are right to say, in effect, you didn't appoint yourself. Those who appointed you are the ones who can answer certain questions, but there would be certain things that you know about how you came to be appointed.
Yes.
But maybe Ms. Norman can put specific questions to you.
Yes,
And
thank
what
you,
you know, you will say. What you don't know, you will say you don't know.
Thank you. You would have applied for that position, am I correct?
I didn't apply, Chair.
Yes, yes. And this is, we go back to my first question. So if you did not apply, was it simply offered to you, that position?
Yes.
Or maybe
Thank
we
you.
should, because I'm sorry, Ms. Norman,
Yes, thank you.
because he did say he wrote a letter.
Yes.
You said you wrote a letter, I assume, to the board. Is that correct? Where you were complaining that you were effectively complaining or expressing concern that you had been acting for a long time. There is uncertainty. You don't know whether you are coming or going. Is that right?
Yes, Chair.
Did the board, was the a letter addressed to the chairperson of the board? Or you don't remember?
Let me say, Chair, to the chair, but the chair represents the board.
Yes,
You
no, it was
expect the
addressed,
chair,
yeah,
yes.
you meant it for the board,
Yes.
not for him alone.
Yes, Chair.
Did they respond to the letter, either in writing or verbally? And if they did, what was their response?
No, Chair, what I know, there were some discussions, because those are minutes of the SABC
There were discussions within the board.
Yeah, within the board, and then they discussed the matter, and I think they voted amongst themselves. Some of them disagree with the process, and so on and so on, Chair, yes.
Did you, were you present when those discussions took place in the board meetings, or were you asked to recuse yourself or anything like that?
I was not present, Chair.
You were not present each time they discussed.
Yes, Chair.
Yeah, but you knew that in that meeting they'll be having a discussion that concerns you, or the feeling of the position.
No, the Chair didn't explain to me that she is going to raise the issue. They are going to discuss the matter, Chair.
Or he did not say that.
Yes,
to you.
yes.
So these discussions, at a certain stage, the chairperson must have come back to you after those discussions and told you something. Or did he come back to you and say, I did receive your letter, and since then we have had some discussions in the board, and this is what we propose to do?
Yes, I think through HR, if I don't remember well who.
Yes.
Yes, but what I know that I received a letter from HR, but the letter was signed by the chairperson of the board. But you know, SABC is SABC, Chair. Everything already all over.
Yeah.
In a board meeting, this time, this is what happened, how many people voted. It was, I mean, it's,
Before you received the letter, you knew
people
what had happened.
were already talking about that meeting.
Yes, yes. And the talk was the talk that you had been appointed by the board?
I think so, Chairperson. The talk was there were divisions.
Oh, there were divisions within
yes,
the board?
amongst the board.
about your appointment?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And then you received a letter, you said, that was signed by the chairperson of the board. That who was the chairperson of the board at the time? Because Dr. Ngubane said he had left already by then. Was it Professor?
I think.
Who was the?
Maybe, Chair, let me, the letter, I received the letter from the HR. Because normally the HR is the custodian of the process of the SABC.
Yes.
But I want to withdraw the chairperson signing.
Oh,
yes,
you are not sure
that
about
one, whether
that.
it was HR or who signed the letter.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
But it was a letter that you received that was on the HR letterhead or something.
Yes, it must SABC letterhead.
SABC letterhead, but Human Resources Department.
Yes, they normally after the appointment they will call you.
Yeah.
You engage with HR.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's the letter that you got.
Yes, Chairperson.
And was the letter saying the board has decided to appoint you as COO of Group CEO of the SABC, in effect?
Chairperson, I will
You
want
can't
to check
remember.
because I don't want to talk about issues and then I'm not sure about the content of that.
Yes,
letter. But yes, I received the letter.
Yeah, but obviously you remember the gist of what this letter said, I would imagine.
Yes,
Or
Chairman.
you can't remember what the gist was of the message it was giving you.
Chairperson, when you hear that you are COO of the organization,
Yes.
I was very excited. These other matters, they didn't. But what I know, Chairperson, is the process will be the board, they will need the approval from the shareholder.
Yes.
Yes, Chairperson.
Yes.
That process, I knew that it went through because they could not appoint me without the approval of the shareholder.
Yes, but what I'm trying to understand is, to distinguish, is what you had in the grapevine, as it were, as to what the board had decided and that there were divisions and so on, and what was written in black and white. So I'm trying to, I understand that you did hear from the grapevine that the board had appointed you and that there were divisions within the board about the issue, but I'm trying to establish whether the letter that you are talking about is the official letter that conveyed to you the decision of the board to appoint you.
Yes, Chair.
It is the one.
Yes, Chair.
Okay, but you say once you heard this, what happened?
I was thinking of transforming South Africa,
Yes.
especially SABC, that it should change, especially, Chair, I think everybody knows my passion is content.
Yes. So this letter told you about the decision of the board to appoint you as COO of SABC, but your understanding was, or the letter did say, that this was subject to the concurrence or approval of the shareholder.
No, Chair, when I received the letter, at that time, I think the minister has already approved it.
Or the
Yes.
whole issue was finalized?
Yes, was finalized.
Oh.
Because when I received the letter,
Yes.
now we were engaging with HR just to finalize,
Yes.
you know, the package of the position and so on and
Yes.
so on. Yes, Chair.
Yes. So you did not apply for appointment to this position of COO as such, but what you did was to complain about how long you had been acting in the position. Is that correct?
It is correct, Chair.
Yes. And nobody ever asked you to apply for the position, to fill in forms or anything like that?
No, Chair, because they didn't advertise the post.
They did not advertise the
Yes,
post?
Yes, Chair.
Yes. Okay. Do you want to take it from there, Ms. Nomi?
Yes, thank you very much, Chair. We had, there is an, if I may just refer, Chair, to the reference bundle at page 216. A reference bundle at page 2, there is an advert that relates to the Chief
The
Operations
reference
Officer.
bundle being Exhibit 32.
32, I beg your pardon, Chair.
Exhibit 32,
Yes.
What page?
At page 216.
216.
Through you, Chair, which bundle?
Oh, sorry, the one exhibit,
But you must
30
remember
I
that
beg-
Mr. Motsoeneng said he might not need to have a
To
look
refer,
at the
yes,
yeah. So just ask him the question. If he has a problem, he will tell you.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah. Don't ask him to look for
To look for it.
pages and documents. Yes.
Thank you, Chair. This is the reference bundle. It's exhibit CC 32 at page 216. This is an advert for the position of Chief Operations Officer. We referred to this advert yesterday when we were dealing with the evidence of Dr. Ngubane. And the closing date for applications was the 15th of February 2013. Were you aware at this point that there was an advert for this position of the COO?
Chair, through you, you know that position of COO, it has been going up and down because of the previous person who was supposed to occupy the positions, advertising and then not advertising because he went to court. So there were many issues there, really. I think at certain stage, SABC said we are going to advertise. They withdrawn the advert because of the court matters. I saw the advert, but really I can't attest because there were, I think there were more than 3 adverts.
At different stages.
At different stages, and I'm not sure which one is, at that time when I was acting COO that went through.
But what can help, of course, is for you to confirm the date with effect from which your appointment started. And I'm sure you can't forget that date.
Not at all, Chairperson. The acting one, Chair.
No, the permanent one as COO. That's the one we are talking about.
That one.
Oh, you remember the acting one?
The acting one, Chairperson, I remember very well. This one, it has been court matters. Sometimes I want to just...
Okay.
But I think it was around July 2014, Chairperson.
Yes.
The permanent appointment?
Yes, Chair.
Okay, the acting one would have been in 2012, 2013?
2011 in November.
Yes.
On the 18th.
Yes.
Yes, Chair.
Okay, all right. No, thank you. So the the permanent appointment you say would have been in 2014.
Yes, Chair.
Yes. Okay. This advert is dated, or the closing date is given as 15 February 2013.
Yes, Chair.
Yes. Okay.
Chair, may I just refer to the reference bundle, CC 32, page 226. That is where Mr. Motsoeneng's confirmation of appointment letter to the COO position is page 226, 227, 228, and then from 229, it's a copy of his contract with the SABC.
Starting at 227,
226, Chair.
226.
Yes.
Yes, I've got that's 8 July 2014. That's a letter of confirmation of his appointment
Yes.
as a COO. Yeah,
That is correct. Yes.
yeah. So that's 8 July. The letter is 8 July 2014.
Yes, Chair.
Does it say? It says commencement date, same date, 8 July 2014, and it's for a fixed term up to 30 June 2019.
That's correct, Chair.
Okay.
Yes.
Does that sound right, Mr.? Does it sound correct that those dates?
Correct, Chair.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. And at page 228, say, Chair, you would find Mr. Motsoeneng's full names and his acceptance of the terms and conditions.
Yes, he signed on the 8th July 2014, that is the same date, to accept the offer, subject
Yes.
to the above terms and conditions. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Thank you. Then maybe before we deal with your era as the COO of the SABC, because we are going to have to relate to certain minutes there, maybe we should just go back to the statement so that we can continue from there before we deal with that era, because it's going to relate to some of the people that have implicated you, as you are aware, where we had written or where the Commission had issued 3.3 notices to you. Are you happy if you do that?
I'm happy.
Thank you.
I'm
Can you
happy,
just
Chair.
go back to page 5 of your statement?
Or
Sorry, Chair.
you're not pursuing anything on that advertisement?
No, Chair, because there's a lot that we need to deal with. There's a lot of litigation that
Okay.
relates to that.
Okay.
Yes, Chair, but I'm just
Okay.
thinking because once you
Yes.
start with it, then we must go
No,
with
that's
to the
fine.
notices as well. Yes, thank
Okay.
you. Thank you, Chair.
So we must go
Go
to
back
what page?
to that CC 30, Chair.
And what page?
At page 5, Chair,
Or we're going back to his statement?
to his statement, yes.
Before we go back, I'd just like to take a few minutes adjournment.
Yes, Chair. Thank you.
We'll take a 5 minutes adjournment. We'll resume at about 3 o'clock.
Thank you, Chair.
We adjourn.
All rise.
5, Mr. Motsoeneng, of your affidavit, you deal with the support structure of the SABC. I take it that this is the support structure at the time when you are now the COO, am I correct?
Yes, Chair.
Yes. And you deal with what the operations team was dealing with in paragraph 14.3. Could you just tell Chairperson what were you dealing with there?
Here, Chair, I'm referring to all the divisions that report to me, which I have already mentioned, which divisions they were reporting me. The key divisions there will be your television, radio, media technology, and commercial sales. Those I'm just mentioning the few, Chair, so that I don't put everything. But also, I mean, if you look at Chairperson, you also have your office manager the role of office manager, it's a very, very critical one. She's not above the group executive, but everything that comes to me, it goes to the office manager to check the process, to check everything, whether the same group executive, they have followed process that they're supposed to follow. It is a very critical position, Chairperson.
Yes. And at page 43, if you could just turn to page 43, you make reference to that annexure, which is the organizational structure of the SADC. Page 43.
Yes, I'm there.
Okay. Is that the picture of the organogram? It will be under divider number 1.
Yes.
Oh, you have it. Oh, I beg
Yes,
your
I have
pardon.
it.
Oh, okay, thank you. And then where would the office manager fit in there on that organogram?
The office manager sits in my office. You have divisions that reports to me.
Yes.
Yes.
Also, she will be in this office where you are. If one were to draw a line on that organogram, so one would have to put the office manager next to the COO's office position.
Yes.
Okay.
She's part of your staff.
She's part.
Yes.
Yeah.
Chairperson.
All right. Okay.
She's
Thank
the
you.
most family person in the organization because every time in the morning we meet each and every day.
Yes.
Yes.
She would be would she be the most senior staff member within your staff in your office of COO?
Yes, Chair.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you, Chair. And then this structure, is it the structure as it was at the time when you were COO, or is it has always been this structure that everybody, including news, would report to the COO? Was it the organogram that you've put up at the point when you were the COO?
All the broadcasting divisions, they have been reporting to me. The only divisions that we put together, it was the technology and the commercial one. The chair, the reason being, Chair, a broadcaster, you need A, to know what B is doing. So you need a team. In the past, the divisions, they were independent from the units. So we put a strategy that let us put this team together so that when you go and a sales division, you go and sell content. You know what you are selling. You are part of that team, you sit in those meetings, you take decisions together. So, but in the past, everybody was doing, operating in silos. That is the reason why we put that structure together. And that structure, Chairperson, did very well to generate more revenue and also put stability within the organization.
Yes. And in paragraph 17, you state that you couldn't allow the board to appoint senior management. And could you just, or at least to appoint the people that were reporting to you, suggesting that you had to appoint your own staff? Is that what you are trying to convey in that paragraph?
Yes, Chair. In the past, the SABC board, they were appointing group executive because we have directors, your GCO, your COO, and the CFO. They were appointing these people for 3 directors. My view was, if these people are going to report to me, I'm accountable. Why should they be appointed by the board when in any case the board appoints us? And that issue, Chairperson, it was causing havoc in the organization because people that report to you, they will tell you, no, the board is responsible. You are not responsible. So it was causing more tension, operational tension within the team. But in a normal organization, the 3 directors, they should be able to appoint, but not them also. Even senior managers, they should appoint people within their delegation of authority.
And then...
So, I'm sorry.
Sorry, Chair.
So you say before this change happened that you are talking about, the board used to appoint group executives, is that right?
Yes, Chairperson.
Those who fell under the category of group executives were the GCEO, the COO, the CFO, and who else?
Can you repeat the question, Chair?
The question is who fell under that category of group executives
Oh, okay.
who were appointed by the board at some stage before this change happened?
Okay, Chair. It will be all your group executive of television, radio, technology, all of them, those divisions. There are about 11.
Or there would be about 11?
Yes, they form ESCO. Together we form ESCO.
Okay, but
Yes.
if one has regard to the organogram that you have put up, or that has been put up at page 43 that we are looking at, before the change that you are talking about, who would they be reporting to? Would they be reporting to those people would some of them be reporting to the Chief Financial Officer, others to the COO, others to the Group Chief Executive Officer, or would they all be reporting to only one of these people?
No, Chair, you are correct. They will report to the broadcasters. Will report to the COO.
Yes.
The financials team,
Yes.
including your procurement, they will report to the CFO.
Yes.
Your legal, HR,
Yes.
and other
Yes.
divisions, they will report to the GCO.
Yes.
But two directors, COO and CFO, will report to the GCO.
Okay. So the change that you wanted was that even if people fell within the category of group executives, if they were not COO and they were not CFO and they were not GCEO, they should be appointed by the relevant group executive among these three. So some would be appointed in terms of your proposal, would be appointed by the COO, the broadcasters, those that fall under that. And those that fall under the Chief Financial Officer, in terms of your proposal, would have to be appointed by either the Chief Financial Officer or somebody lower than that within that stream. And then there would be some that may be appointed by the GCEO.
The ESCO chair, which is the group executive, 11 of them, if they were supposed to be appointed, the three directors, including the HR, they will sit down, go through all the interviews and appoint. For instance, when I was the COO, I appointed 8 women, same time, Chairperson. Because at the SABC, at the top, you didn't have women in those positions, Chairperson. So that will, but it is not me, it is me and the panel, the 3 directors, we appointed those, although I championed to women to be appointed at the SABC.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. And then by making those appointments, I take it that there would have been advertisements and people would respond, there would be interviews, and then those women would then be appointed. Did you follow that process, or did you introduce a new process?
We followed the process of advertising the post, Chair. Although I was having a different view, Chairperson, and I will tell you why I was having a different view, but not just to appoint people. Now I was saying, why do we want, when you know that we are going to advertise, you want women, why do you want men to come in? The HR said to me, no, it's discrimination. But I said, but no, you need equities there that you must have. They said, no, but it's fine, allow them to go for interviews. But unfortunately, even in those interviews, we appoint all these women chairperson, which I'm very proud of.
Yes, okay. Thank you. And then in paragraph 18, Mr. Motsoeneng, you make the point about the broadcaster not being a political party. At this stage of your affidavit, and could you just take the chair through the reasons why you felt that at this point of your evidence in your affidavit, you should raise that point?
Chairperson, I think everybody knows that SABC, it is a public broadcaster. Everyone is having interest in the SABC. So the reason why, even when people were appointed as group executive, for me, they were appointed, some of them politically so. That's why, Chairperson, during my time, I argue forcefully so to say, why can't we empower people within SABC? Because SABC already was bloated. And if the SABC is bloated, why can't you advertise and appoint within the organization? The reason why there is no stability at the SABC is because of politics, Chairperson. And I raised these issues, even the board, the appointment of the board, to say, in my view, Chairperson, I know some people, they hammer me on this, but that is what I stand for. I even said the SABC should not be appointed by Parliament. It should, and I said it should be chaired by a retired judge. Because of the politics that I have been through within the organization, and I serve under 3 boards, Chairperson. So I have seen that there is a problem when it comes to politics. Example, Krishna Ido, who was a board member, we discussed these issues of politics, and then including my former GCO, the one that I still respect even today, Melulama. I was having a problem where they would be called...
You mentioned the name. What was the name? You mentioned the name of this GCO that you
my
say...
My former GCO, yeah. Melulama.
Oh, okay. Ms. Makobo.
Yes, Chairperson. Where politicians will call the directors of the SABC to attend the workshops of a political party. So I was fighting for that. I said, no, I don't agree that we as SABC, and Chairperson, I can tell you, I come from the ANC, but I could not allow to be controlled by a political party when I'm supposed to serve the public. This is what I said in those minutes of the board, where I was warning Krishna Idu, because he was saying, no, we are deployed here as political, coming from different political parties. I said, no, but that is wrong, because immediately when you occupy this position, you leave that head. Now you focus on the SABC. And Chair, what happened there is, Krishna Idu, to be honest, me and him, I know that my GCO was saying, no, we lock horns, but I don't have horns. I think he was just teasing. We work very close together, and I still respect her even today, Chairperson. But
that is Ms. Makobo.
GCO,
yeah, yes.
Yes, Chair.
Yeah.
So, Krishna Idu was working in the Tuli house. And I was always having a problem, because Krishna Idu is the one who said to ANC, as long as Hlaudi is there, we are not going to make it. And I was fighting with Krish, because Krish was interfering, Chairperson, in the operations of the SABC, where it's not supposed to operate. I raised those issues in the board. In the minutes, you'll realize those issues are there. I said, Krish, I disagree with you. And many board members who have been influenced by politics, Chairperson. That is the issue, to be honest. I don't believe that political parties should get involved in the running of the SABC.
Was he full-time at Lutuli House Mr. Krish Naidu?
Chairperson,
Your
what-
understanding, was he employed full-time there, or what was the position?
Chairperson, I can't say really sure, but every day he was in the tool house. Most of the time, not every day. Most of the
Yes,
time,
yes.
he would say, no, we are having a meeting in the tool house. I'm
Yes.
coming. We are having a cases in the Free State in Northwest.
Yes.
I'm going to work.
Yes.
So for me, I think he was, but under correction, Chairperson, I
Yes,
don't
yes.
want to
You-
put
you are
it
not
as
sure,
a fact,
yeah.
but I think he was working for
Yes, yes.
ANC.
Yes. Now, you made a statement which you attributed to him a few minutes ago, namely that he said something along the lines that we are deployed by the ANC. Did I understand you correctly? Is that what he said?
Yes, Chair. In these minutes, we have that, those minutes.
Yes,
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 correct,
yes.
Chairperson.
Okay, thank you. So you say, except for your disagreement on this issue, the two of you worked quite well.
With Krishna Chair?
Yes.
Hi, Chairman, no.
Oh, I thought that's what you were saying.
No, I was saying the former GCO.
Oh,
Melula
okay,
Mamafo.
okay.
Not with
okay.
Krishna, Chair.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Chair.
Okay, not with Mr. Naidu.
Chairperson, the story there is tough, but
Okay, all
we'll
right.
talk about no.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
okay.
Chairperson. No, it didn't go well together.
Yes,
Thank
okay.
you.
Continue.
Thank you, Chair. Now that you mentioned Ms. Mokowa, maybe I should put this question to you. I don't know whether you did watch her evidence when she testified, but she did mention something that after her appointment, you took her to the Gupta family where she was congratulated by some of the Gupta brothers. Could you just deal with that?
Yes, Chair. We enjoy curry there. Big time, Chairperson, together with Melulama.
And she said it was something like within a week after her appointment.
Yes. No, Chairperson, I was acting as the GCO. at
Before
that time.
I was appointed.
Yes, I was.
Yes.
I was acting as a GCO. It was part of handover,
Okay, yes.
and it was part because I said to her, "Look, compliance. They informed me that there is this relationship between TNA and the SABC, but we as SABC we are not complying because there is no MOU on this matter. These are the people that we are working with them." But these people, they talk to me to say, we will be happy if we can meet your new GCO. What she's saying, I went to her a day before that morning that she's referring, that I just came and said, let's go to the group. No, we discussed, Chairperson. Yes, in the morning I went into her office. And then when I arrived, I said, hey, GCO, you know what, I have some stuff that I want to deal with at 10. So, but if we can see these people, if you are okay, but we have already discussed a day before. We went to Chairperson. She was very happy. I was very happy, including myself. What happened there? It was breakfast, Chairperson. We went and then we eat breakfast. And they proposed, Chairperson, like any business people. You know, even Chairperson, when I go in the street, people propose, they give you a proposal. They said, because you are going to migrate, we wish that we can have channels in that bouquet of the SABC, which is normal. Everyone does that. There was nothing wrong about those issues. But the concern, Chairperson, is, I don't know. When you talk about Guptas these days, people, they don't want to hear anything. They run away. They want to go under the tables. I don't know what is the problem. But the reality is, we have met the Guptas, we have engaged them, Chairperson. And I want to allude to this, Chairperson, because...
And you ate the curry.
I enjoy Chairperson. Yes. And I want to allude to this, Chairperson. You are dealing with state capture, Chairperson. In my view, now was capturing private sector.
Let's repeat that.
Oh, Chairperson, sorry.
Just repeat that sentence.
You know, sometimes you want to speak your own language. No. I'm saying, Chairperson, now I was trying to capture private sector. And I want to demonstrate to you. That is only where I know that I differ with my former GCO, Medulam. Because in a meeting of ESCO, I said to her, and not to her, ESCO, as we are discussing issues, I said, but these people, we have partnership with them. And they have jet, they have all these things, nice stuff, flying. Why can't, because we already were in this partnership, why can't we use them? Chairperson, it was big no from Medulama. Maybe she was referring to that. That is the only issue that we really, and I was very happy because for the first time, she differed with me on that issue, but no, we were still working, laughing. Yes. But she said, no, Hlaudi, the Guptas. I said, what's wrong? I said, no, everybody now is talking about the Guptas. We can't, but I said, no, already we are partners. So why can't we use their jet? Because, Chairperson, we fly to all these provinces. We fly to Cape Town. For me, it was an opportunity for me also to capture them. So, and that, Chairperson, it will go the same with, maybe because I'm talking about this issue, it will go to multi-choice. You see, even multi-choice, Chairperson, they didn't approach us at the SABC for that channel or those two channels. I approached them. But the first person who approached multi-choice, it was our former GCO, Medula Mamokhobo, and Dr. Ngubani. They went and approached them because there was a pressure to say, but you, SABC, why are you not competing in this space of news?
24-hour news service.
Yes,
service, yeah.
When you have your ETV competing in that space, there was pressure even from a portfolio committee, but even citizens generally, to say why you don't have a channel like ETV, because they've got channel there.
A 24-hour news channel.
24-hour news channel, Chairperson. So, and then what happened is they went and talked and engaged.
That is now Dr. Ngubane, the chairperson of the board, and Ms. Makobo, the then GCEO.
Yes.
Yes.
They went and approached them. They came back to the board. The board was not happy about the process and so on, but we resolved those issues. But it could not kick off because of the financials. Because their multi-choice, they were saying they are going to fund SABC for 50 million for 5 years.
Hang on, Mr. Motsoeneng. I know that Ms. Norman will be dealing with that at some stage.
Yes, sure, yes.
So I don't know whether you might not go that far so that
Yes.
we keep to the point. I think
Thank you, Chair.
you were with the question, you were dealing with the question of you and Ms. Makobo going to the Gupta residence.
Yes.
That's how it, and you were saying you had spoken to her before, the day before. You didn't just come out of the blue and say, let's go somewhere. You say you had spoken before, and then the following morning you came.
Yes, Chair, but before, Chair, I want to submit with due respect, Chair. What my former GCO was saying, it was not correct. Because when she was dealing with the issue, it seems as I went into her office, hold her, let's go. Even my daughter, 8 years, will ask me, Dad, where are we going? She knew where we were going. Yes, Chairperson, no, she knew where we were going. It was
And
not like
did she know that from the previous day's discussion?
Yes, Chairperson.
So the previous day you had said, the two of you had a discussion in terms of which you were going to go to the Gupta residence the following morning.
What we discussed here, we said the Guptas, they have asked
Yes.
me so that I can, they
Yes.
can see her. But we didn't say the same morning we will go.
Or you didn't fix the date?
No, we didn't fix the date, but the issues that we were talking about, it was compliance.
Yes.
Yes, but in the
Yes.
morning when I came,
Yes.
I went to her office.
Yes.
But she knew that that plan was already there to go to.
But when you went to her the following morning, did you say, let's go to the Guptas?
Yes, Chair.
You did?
Yes, Chair.
Okay, so she didn't
Because
find
I have
out
already-
only when she arrived at the Gupta residence?
Yes, Chair, because I have already mentioned the compliance issue.
Yes.
Talking about the Guptas. And
Yes.
the previous day, I told her about
Yes.
they want to see her,
Yes.
but we didn't finalize the date.
Yes, okay, all right. Before Ms. Norman continues, I just want to ask you another question. You say once you were at the Gupta residence, you enjoyed curry there. Right, what curry was it?
Chairperson, I went there more than I can't count.
You went there many
No,
times?
no, Chairperson, I can't count.
Yes.
Yes, because I must tell you the truth.
Yes.
Yes, I can't count. I went there several times at the.
Yes.
And I enjoy curry, Chairperson. I don't want
Yes.
to lie.
And it would be fair to say you became friends with them?
You see, Chairperson.
When you say
No,
you went there so many times you can't remember, it looks like you were friends with them.
No, Chairperson, you know, I know people have friends.
Yes.
But now I don't have friends.
Yes.
I have people that I know.
Okay, okay,
I
all
don't
right,
call
okay.
them.
So
Yes,
that might be a wrong term.
Yes,
But you
Chairperson,
you interacted with them countless times.
Yes, Chairperson.
Okay. Now, I'll tell you later why I'm pursuing the issue of curry. What curry was it? Was it beef curry? Was it lamb curry? What was it? Chicken curry? What curry was it? Can you remember?
Chairperson, I don't think they eat meat.
Yeah?
I don't think they eat meat.
Yes.
But there's something called curry.
yes.
Yes, I don't
Which
know.
didn't
whether-
have meat.
But I don't think it's they call
It's
it
the curry as we know. It's not the curry as we know it.
I think so, Chairperson.
Yes.
I don't-
As far as you recall, there was no meat in the
I-
curry that you ate, that you enjoyed.
No, Chairperson, I don't
Yes.
think, yes, I don't remember.
No. I was asking that question because in Ms. Mentor's statement in her evidence before the commission, she said that when she had a meeting, when she was at the Gupta residence, where she was offered the position of Minister of Public Enterprises on her version, I think she was offered curry, and I think she said, I don't know if she said lamb curry or beef curry. Now, in response to that, Mr. Ajay Gupta in his affidavit said, there is no way we could have offered you beef curry or lamb curry. I just can't remember which one. But he said, we couldn't have offered you that we are Hindu and so on. So I wanted to check what kind of curry you were given. But you say it did not have meat.
Yes, Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Chair. Maybe, Mr. Motsoeneng, we could just deal with the 90-10 policy and just get it out of the way. Could you just tell the Chair what motivated this policy and what was it all about? Because it's something that the interim board, I will direct you to those pages, was critical of. And also one of the witnesses, if you may recall, Mr. Piri, had testified before the chairperson that he didn't think that it was a bad idea to introduce that policy, but it was the manner in which it was introduced that he was critical of.
Chairperson, I think it is very important for all people of South Africa to bless their own people first before they can bless people from outside the country. Reason being, when we came with 90%, we didn't wake up in the morning and introduce 90%. It has been a process, Chairperson, because in broadcasting, as the COO, I have the summit. Annually so, I have a summit where we go through all the programs that are performing and non-performers. And when you look at all those programs, the non-performers are international content. I know that they were saying that local content actually cause harm for the SABC. It is not true, Chairperson. Look Generation, look Uzalo, those are the most watched soapies in South Africa. So there's no way that international content will beat local content. We went through Chairperson after our summit. But my issue was, we as SABC, we have been talking for many, many years, Chairperson. Even before I came, people were talking about the local content. But when they talk at the SABC, they believe that when they have a paper, they have delivered. So for me, when I see outcome, I have delivered. But also, Chairperson, we look at the books of the SABC. Example, when we take artists of South Africa, you know, people they die, poppers, and people are so excited. I mean, I don't know, because people talk about it. For me, it's painful if you are going to use that word for your own artist. I realized that actually we are paying artists outside more than our own artists in South Africa. And I said to the team, we can't be a blesser. You must bless your own children first before you bless people from outside. So that is the reason why we introduce local content. But we also went across the country, talking to people, citizens, asking them about what they feel about the SABC. The majority of them, they said, why do you show us the bold and the beautiful? Some of them, they are saying, no, when we grow, we are getting older, we are still seeing this, the bold and the beautiful. So I said, why can't we have our own, the bold and the beautiful, as South African Chairperson? And if you look in Africa, Chair, many people, they watch Nigerians' content. Why? Because it's appealing. Even here in South Africa, if we can do that, Chairperson, South Africa will create employment. South Africa will create sustainable artists, because they die as paupers because the money goes out. So those are the issues, Chairperson. But also, Chairperson, it is not about the artist. It is also about your production houses. Because we were saying, it can't be right that when you go to KwaZulu-Natal, you go to Limpopo, I can't leave my province, Free State, Chairperson. You go to Free State, you don't have actors coming from those provinces. When actually we are a public broadcaster, what kind of content are we supposed to do? It's local content. Even when you check the Broadcasting Act, it talks about SABC developing local content production houses. That is what we did, Chairperson. To be honest, I have a pain where I am, Chairperson, that the board, they reverse 90-10. You know why did they reverse it? They didn't want the person, but the person was correct. But if you don't want the person, don't destroy what is good for the country. Because that is what SABC is doing. They are destroying everything that we implemented, Chair. And you can imagine, Chairperson, President Ramaphosa now, another president comes, he just wake up and feel, no, man, that president was not doing, and you destroy everything. That's why SABC will be always in these troubles that they are facing, Chairperson. Because you should take the good and leave the bad that you think this one is not working. But in local content, I can attest, is the diamond of South Africa for our artists and business people generally, Chairperson. So I believe in us before I can believe in other people. And Chairperson, I went abroad. You know what is very interesting? I was really honored to be invited by broadcasters internationally in India, not the Gupta's, Chair, in India, where all the broadcasters went and discussed. Because when I introduced 90-10, all South Africa, people were excited. Wake up, I mean, you go to airport, you feel you are in South Africa. It's all this music, our African music. They invited me to come to say, but why are you getting rid of us? Why are you saying 10% international content, not at least 60% for South Africa? At least we can see that we are moving somewhere. But I said to them, tell me how many artists do you play in this country? I have been here for a week. I have never listened to a music or a musician from Africa. It's all the Americans and others who don't play our music. When it comes to content, Chairperson, I said to them, for us to buy your content, our own actors here, those who are acting Generations and other soapies, when we buy, we must benefit. We must have our own actors there in the bold and the beautiful example, acting internationally. Because I believe our people are capable to act internationally. We agree, Chairperson. I'm surprised that the new board is talking bad about local content. But I can tell you, Chairperson, they don't know broadcasting. This one, Chairperson, I can attest to you, they don't understand broadcasting. Example, Chairperson, the Chairperson of the board, including the GCO, they talk about you need to invest in time before you put a content. And they make a misleading issue about Uzaro. Uzaro, Chairperson, is my project. It's my baby. Because it was a pilot project when we introduced to say we want to see all provinces producing content in their own languages. So and people were fighting, Chairperson, they didn't want that Uzaro. I think if you were reading newspapers, Chairperson, if you read newspapers, Chair, you realize that at a certain point, there was hullabaloo about Uzaro and so on. And I said to the team of the SABC, let us give them a chance and see how this baby will grow. Chairperson, within 3 months, Uzaro was leading Generation and other soapies, which means people love local content. As I'm speaking now, Uzaro is competing amongst the top 3. So which means local content is lacquer. And we as South Africans, we must invest in local content, Chairperson. That is what I want to say to you, Chair.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. May I just refer you to what the interim board in its report says, which will be in the reference report, reference bundle, CC32, at pages 5, the matters that relate to the 90-10. It will be page 5, Chair.
Page 5.
Page 5, yes,
Okay.
Chair. Yes. Where the heading is performance review.
Yes.
Thank you. But your attention, Mr. Motsoeneng, is drawn to paragraph 2.1.2D, C, I beg your pardon, where they say the interim board took the following decisions: reviewed the 90-10 local content directive to align with ICASA rules, with particular reference to those stations which suffered audience and revenue loss. And then at page 11, Chair, paragraph 2.1.13, the subheading is evaluate financial and legal implications of unilateral changes to policies. It was established that the 90-10 local content directive had a negative impact on audiences and advertising revenue of some radio and TV stations, totaling 183 million in brackets unaudited in television and 29 million in brackets unaudited in radio. These figures excluded the additional costs of 72 million for the replacement of local content and losses due to unused foreign rights already contracted. The interim board has taken a decision to reverse the 90-10 local content directive. The corporation remains compliant and above with the requirements of the ICASA regulations. Thank you. Do you wish to comment?
Yes, free you, Chair. I think, Chair, the board is misleading the public. There is no way where local content can cause revenue for SABC. As I have alluded to the issue that local content generate more revenue.
You mean can cause revenue loss?
Sorry, Chair?
You mean there is no way local content could cause revenue loss for SABC.
There is
That's
no
what
way,
you mean.
Chairperson.
Yeah.
There is no way, because local content, Chairperson, when we introduce local content, well, I must be honest, Chair, some of advertisers, they were not happy. But they were not even happy, even when we were still having that content that we are having at the SABC. So, after introducing local content, we went to see all these advertisers. And it was public knowledge, because it was on media, it was on television, where we engaged them, they endorsed to say that they were going to invest in local content. It can't be correct. The issue that I'm thinking, Chairperson, they don't know the SABC. You have a sales division. Their work is to sell the SABC, the value of the SABC. And when they sell this value of the SABC, most of the time they give discount. If you give discount, which means you don't value your own SABC, because I value SABC very highly so. If you don't give them discount, because when people want money, they want quick money. So they will say, no, 100 million is coming tomorrow. But you lose half of 100 million. So for me, they don't understand the business. Why SABC didn't collapse when I was there and the previous boss? Because, Chair, I can attest to you, if you look the financials of the SABC, you will realize that from 2008 until 2016, especially 2013, Chairperson, we improved a lot. It was around billion. When I left at the SABC, it was 881 cash in the bank. And that is where they come in. When they come in, Chairperson, if you have 881 cash in the bank, they just know there is money, but they don't know what they need to do to make sure that they increase the money. Because that money, Chairperson, that I'm talking about, the financials, they are audited financials. I saw when the board, they were presenting and the GCO, they were talking about hearsay. They were telling the commission about their own views. They didn't produce the report, Chairperson. If you go through those slides, you'll see that SABC financially has been doing very well. And when you check, Chairperson, if you have 881 million to run SABC to operate, you need 600 million. But those, when you close the financials, they are audited, everything is done. Now you have 881 million. What do you need to do? I call cycle. You have the first cycle where you need to recover. Because now you have paid everything. Now you have 800 million. You must make sure when you come to June, at least you have covered that amount. When it comes to September, you are around 1.1 billion, 1.2 billion. That is how we have been running SABC, Chairperson. Is the understanding of the business. They don't understand the business, Chairperson. That is my view that I will submit, that no, these people, they don't know what they are talking about, Chairperson. Even if, Chairperson, they can be given bailout, they will never take SABC anywhere. Because, Chairperson, why do we want to just to eat? You don't think. In the board meeting, Chairperson, the minister there will attest to that. I said, why do we want bailouts from government, Chairperson? It's written in the minutes, Chairperson. Yes. And reason being, Chairperson, when I came at the SABC, now I'm talking as acting, so I realized that people, they don't use their own thinking and innovation to deal with issues. Because when I came, Chairperson, the financials were bad. And I'm not taking credit as an individual. I'm taking credit with the team and the previous boards. Yes. But I have come with innovation, Chairperson, how to make sure that SABC is sustainable.
Yes, we're going to deal with that maybe in the morning, because I think there is a paragraph where you deal, there's minutes where it's dealt with about you having raised funds for the SABC. So we are going to deal with all of those. I think that also falls within what you call your innovations. But for now, let's just deal with another big policy change.
Sorry, Chair.
Sorry.
Through you, Chair.
Yes.
I just before, because I'm going to forget this one,
All right.
Chairperson.
Okay.
Yes.
On the same matter, Chairperson, you know, the weakness there at the SABC also, it was people will project loss. And also, if you go to the minutes, Chairperson, I refuse SABC to project loss. Because if you project loss, what are you saying? We are saying, let's collapse. Let's close the shop. So those, I'm just saying, those are the issues, Chairperson, that we must think about.
So
Thank you.
you say that will be dealt with
Yes,
tomorrow
tomorrow,
morning?
Chair. Yes,
Yeah.
Chair.
Okay.
Chair, I'm not sure whether I should start, but we still have 15 minutes. Let's
Let's try and use it because
Thank you, Chair.
yesterday
Yes.
was it yesterday?
Yes, it was. We finished
we
early.
left. We agenda about 10 to 4.
Yeah, that's correct,
Yeah.
Chair.
Let's,
Thank you.
Let's try and go
And make
yeah.
time. Thank you. Mr. Motsoeneng, can we also deal with another change that you implemented as the COO? You must have had the journalists that testified, including these are matters that would relate to the SABC 8, if you recall, about the change that violent protests were not to be covered. They've testified to the chair that they felt that was interference with news, and that was something that they frowned upon, and you would have listened to all of their evidence. In fact, I think one of the witnesses categorized it as a matter that was kind of treasonous, because in other words, you're saying to the public, I'm not going to show you exactly what's happening, but I will conceal that from you. Could you just testify to that?
With pleasure, Chair. Chairperson, I think people, when we talk about media, they confuse issues. I did hear when they were testifying to say I was interfering. It was my job to interfere. I don't, Chairperson, I just want to demonstrate it was my job to interfere because their argument is they are independent. The question that we need to ask, Chairperson, independent to who? If they are independent. Because independency, it is an organization. It's not me as an individual. It is an organization independent. In the Broadcasting Act, Chairperson, it's clear the independence of a broadcaster or broadcasters, not individual. And when it comes to this visual, Chairperson, I don't know what is happening in South Africa. Because I want to demonstrate, Chairperson, the visuals, what we see today is because of how media cover this riots that is happening in South Africa. And if you check, the Nigerians are taking business people in Nigeria. What caused that? Where they saw it? On our television. Chairperson, my view on the visuals, you can show the visuals, but there are certain visuals that you can't show. Their issue, Chairperson, is no, the journalists should be creative, independence. The Broadcasting Act, they don't talk about journalists being independent as journalists. And my view on independence, Chairperson, is that you should not be influenced by other forces, maybe outside, but internally, Chairperson. You know, people interfere to me as the COO. They interfere in my work. They will tell me, I hear with you, we think you are wrong, or we think here, but I don't take it as an interference. I take as people who are assisting me to do what we are supposed to do at the SABC chairperson, because the Broadcasting Act, Chair, is against glamorizing violence. It's there in the Broadcasting Act, and it is unlawful. It is not me. In the Broadcasting Act, it says it is unlawful to glamorize violence, Chairperson. So my view is, Chairperson, that decision that I have taken, or we have taken at the SABC, we were within the Broadcasting Act. Because that's what the Broadcasting Act says, that now when we deal with broadcasting, we must be very careful about some of the issues that we are doing. Chairperson, I don't believe that you should go and ban a library at Wits University, where our children are going to learn, if you ban a library. Because for us as South Africa, it seems as we want to produce monsters, in my view, Chairperson. Because if you check, Chairperson, South Africa, what is news is bad. Bad news is news that is occupying everything. Why are we not producing role models? Why the journalists are not going and talk to people who are doing well for the community? I'm just giving you an example, Chairperson.
Can I just interrupt just on that? How would you want it to be covered? If the Wits library is being bent down, how would you, in terms of your policy, how would you have expected journalists to cover that story?
They can cover the story. I don't have a problem with them covering the story. But let's take a ban example, Chairperson, which I clarify to media general, not even SABC workers. I said, no, look, let's take Whirring. People go and ban a school. You don't know who is inside the school. Television these days is live, Chairperson. You can see people walking around, they are being banned on television. We must not allow that to happen, Chairperson. Even here in Alexandra, that ban, people were found there, Chairperson. I'm saying, when I was dealing with the issue, Chairperson, including myself and Joe Toll, and that day Joe Toll, and I respect him, we went and debated this issue of visuals. I said, no, my issue is the physicality of showing those visuals. You can show the building, but I don't think every day we must watch building. People have banned building, people are killing each other. And I'm aligned with the Broadcasting Act. Chairperson, I want anyone who will say the Broadcasting Act is talking differently from what I'm saying, because there are portions even in my affidavit that I'm referring to.
Yes. And I think that portion is in paragraph 43 of your statement, that where you're quoting the Conduct for Broadcasting Licenses Regulations of 2009. Is that the one?
Yes, Chair.
Which says the broadcasting service licensees must not broadcast material which, judged within context, A, contains violence, which does not play an integral role in developing the plot, character, or theme of the material as a whole, or sanctions or promotes or glamorizes violence or unlawful conduct.
Yes, Chair.
That's the point that you are making.
That is the point, Chair. That is the point that I demonstrated to the SABC personnel, to say, as a public broadcaster, because they compare them with a private broadcaster or media general outside. They don't, in their minds, they are independent because they are media, but we are guided by the Broadcasting Act.
Yes, but then even taking that example that you've given, so what it means that the public then, if supposing that you are correct in your interpretation of what the regulations say, and supposing that your views are correct, it would mean that a journalist would go and cover a story, that story without anyone's plan turns, or the situation turns violent, and buildings are burned down. If one were to look at what you're suggesting, then that journalist must simply cover the aspect where there is no violence, and then walk away from the scene. meaning that the public then would not know what happened, what situation developed from the initial story.
My interpretation is different. My interpretation is you can show the visuals, but you should be selective what kind of visuals that you are going to show people. You can report about people toying, but Chairperson, in my understanding, I may be wrong, and I know Chairperson, you will correct me when you deal with your findings. I may be wrong because I'm not even a lawyer, but it's just my understanding. What I'm understanding in that point, actually we're not even supposed to glamorize this violence. It is unlawful, because that is what the Act says there. Chairperson, it is my understanding. But as a human being, Chairman, now
Yes.
Ubuntu, as a human being, as an African, you know, Africans, I don't know, Chairperson, and I know they said no. I said to them, America, it is true. America, there is poverty, Chairperson. America, even when the plane, you know that plane, you know it's normal. What do you see there, Chairperson? You just see quick, but they don't show you, they hide it. So for their own reason, because I don't want to get involved there. But here, Chairperson, I'm just dealing with what the law says. In my understanding, I'm not a lawyer, but that is, I may be right, I may be wrong, but that is my understanding.
You are explaining what informs your view on the issue.
Yeah, Chair.
That's what you are explaining.
And my view, Chairperson, is South Africa or Africa. We can't really just, because this encourages, Chairperson. It's a given. I was a journalist, Chairperson. When you go with cameras, even these journalists, they will tell you here, when you go with cameras, especially when you are known, they know you, they do some stuff. Stones, everything just happens. Chairperson, we should not really encourage that. Chairperson, I'm just talking from, not from the point of view of the SA personally. That is what I don't think, because I think, Chairperson, especially SABC, we should make sure that we balance the stories, but we don't really put all these visuals that are bad for the country. Even, I'm happy, Chairperson, the president of the current country currently agree with me. The Minister Hlaudi Pando agree with me, which means now they are following me, because this is what I have been saying.
Thank you. On that note, Chair, it's now 4 o'clock. Maybe
Yes,
then adjourn for the day.
What's your estimation of how long we should be tomorrow with Mr. Motsoeneng?
Chair, we should finish in 2 hours.
In 2 hours?
Yes, yes.
And then how many witnesses have you lined up for tomorrow other than him?
I'm sorry, Chair. Yes. So coming tomorrow. Yes. Is that him? Okay. Sorry. Chair, might I just,
Yeah.
there's just one.
Okay.
We've got, after Mr. Motsoeneng, we could move another witness, then we can have 2 more witnesses tomorrow, Chair.
Are there others brief witnesses?
Yes, Chair. Yes. Yes. What were you going to suggest, Chair?
No. I was just thinking whether if we start at 10 o'clock, we would
Or whether we
be
should start at-
fine. But I think let's start
We
at
will
10
be fine,
o'clock.
Chair, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, we are going to adjourn for the day, and then we'll proceed tomorrow. We'll start at 10 o'clock tomorrow. So you will come back, Mr. Motsoeneng, tomorrow morning. Yes.
Thank you,
We
Chair.
adjourn.
Thank you.
Thank you.